Hey everybody, it's Mike Guesswich, co-founder of Teaching.com, Edutyping.com, and Typing.com, two of the world's largest keyboarding software. And welcome to another exciting episode of Ask Edutyping, where we field questions from our user audience, both teachers and students all across the world, who can submit questions through us through either Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and you'll reach us at #AskEdutyping. So each week we start the show with a keyboarding tip of the week. This week we're going to share something that I used to use in my classroom all the time, and students absolutely love it. It's called the key to your imagination, hence the word key and keyboarding. Basically, this activity lets students reinforce their keyboarding skills while also having fun using their imagination and creativity. It's very simple to set up. You basically have your students sign into their computer and open up any word processing program. And within Edutyping, there is a word processing program called OpenType. Once students are seated at their desks, basically you will read a sentence that prompts their creativity and imagination, and they simply will keyboard what their response will be through the computer. So I've written down a couple of cool questions that can help you create this lesson and really bring keyboarding to a fun and creative way inside the classroom. So you would ask something like this to the class, or write them on the board. What do you think Martians do for fun on Mars? What two people would you most like to have to take a picture with? What color best defines the mood you are in right now? If you owned a restaurant, what type of food would you serve? Who would you least likely expect a phone call from? And if you created a new flavor of ice cream, what would it be? So those are just a few questions. Really, you can just use just about anything that's going to spark some creativity in your students. But remember, the key here is for them to reinforce their keyboarding skills. And something I need to point out is that this activity works best after students have learned the common symbol and letter keys. Because obviously, if you're reading a sentence and they have to type a response, they need to know how to key words. So hopefully you'll enjoy that tip. And we have tons and tons of ideas just like this one at our blog, which we update all the time. And then you can find that right from our homepage at edutyping.com. The blog link, and then on typing.com as well, there's a blog link as well. So each week we field, like I said earlier, user audience questions, and I'm joined off camera here by my colleague, Rennie Sullivan, who's gonna read this week's first question. Rennie?
Thanks, Mike. Meredith Townsend asks, is there a recommended time frame for secondary students to complete the course? We want to create a timeline for students to keep them on track.
Well, Meredith, depending upon which product you use, again, Typing.com is our free product, which we generate revenue to support that program through advertisements. So that may not be the most ideal situation for you if you want a more regimented keyboarding program. We recommend, no matter what you kind of walk away with, at least 10 minutes per day. And there's lots and lots of ways that you can fit in 10 minutes within a computer lab or a keyboarding classroom, obviously. But if you visit edutyping.com, and if you go to the curriculum drop-down menu, you'll see that we have built a scope and sequence for all grades, K through 12. So I think if you take a look at that document and see what we recommend, you'll really see that it'll map out a nice pattern for you that will ensure that students will learn keyboarding efficiently, but also let you fit in whatever other content areas you need to be teaching. So hopefully that helps you out, Meredith. Next question, Rennie?
Ms. Salcedo from Oregon asks, is there any version of this program that reads the directions to them? Also, my little ones kept clicking on the ads. Is there any way to get rid of those on their lessons?
Great question. First of all, congratulations for teaching keyboarding at such a young age. Whether it's kindergarten, first grade, or second grade, it really is never too early. It's almost as if you'll see a transition in our society moving from handwriting to keyboarding, and literally keyboarding is now taught alongside of how to handwrite. and how the English language is introduced to students. But to answer your question, on Typing.com, we support that free product by advertisements. There is a small fee you can pay to remove those ads, but our Classroom Premium Edition, EduTyping, is really what the solution is that I would recommend. It's extremely, it's very robust as far as the curriculum goes, number one. Number two, we spend a lot of time investing in new features and updates all the time in that product. So I can recommend that to you. But again, if you are using Typing.com, which is what I'm gathering from what your question was, you can pay a fee to remove those ads if they're distracting to your students. So hopefully that helps. But great question. And we have time for one more question. So Rennie, if you could read this week's final question.
Elaine Reinitzer asks, I sometimes have students who have injuries on either of their hands. And so I'm wondering if there's a section of your program that only uses either the left or right hand for typing. Also, does your program teach the number pad?
Well, those are two questions. Basically, does our program support just left hand or right hand only lessons? So to answer that question, it's pretty simple. No, we don't, because most of the time we assume that students are using two hands. However, one solution that I can recommend is in EduTyping. I'm not sure what program you're using, but within EduTyping, we have a really cool feature called custom lessons. And basically what that does is it allows teachers to create whatever lesson or combination of letters. So if you want it to just be left side of the keyboard or right side of the keyboard, you can just type those up in a Microsoft Word document or any word processor, and then use the custom feature screen. Basically, you just copy paste all of the content that you want your students to keyboard, name the lesson, so it could be left hand only or right hand only, and then you can enable that lesson for students. The next time they log into their program, they'll actually see that lesson, and you can require them to do it. Like you said, if there's an injury, or you may have a one-handed student as well. So hopefully that helps, and that's a great question, Elaine. So that's all the time we have for this week's show. But again, you can reach us through Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at #AskEduTyping. Please send those questions in. If we don't answer them live on our show, we will surely get back to you via email. So everybody have a great week, and I'll see you next week on Ask EduTyping.